What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and continue learning about the top 10 BBC shows of all time, part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, feel free to go check that out or stay right here where you are. That's perfectly fine. But in part 1, man, I'm a little proud to say in part 1, I actually recognized the names of a couple of these shows, like the first 4 or 5 that they mentioned here. I've at least heard of some and really hadn't seen any. And I also learned that fans of the BBC, or perhaps the BBC's best television shows ever, are basically all comedies, huh? We were looking at Fawlty Towers, The Graham Norton Show, The Office, the British Office, the original. I'm not going to call it the British Office. The Office, the original. Yes, Minister, which I loved the plot of that. And Monty Python, of course. So I am quite excited today to continue this list. So far it has been extremely entertaining. And also, there's a couple shows here that I've literally never heard of ever, which is very funny to me that there can be entire shows that are like popular and beloved by millions of people that I've never heard of. That's kind of exciting to me. So I'm excited to learn even more of the top BBC shows of all time. So with that being said, let's take a look.
Number 5, Luther.
You ever been in a pub or a bar or whatever and, you just know the guy next to you's a cop? Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Luther. Again, like I think I've seen a commercial for this at some point, or I've heard of this show's name again. I've never seen any of these shows, but I've heard of some of the names. Luther, like I recognize that Idris Elba is in it. And I think is it a detective show or?
Well, I grew up around soldiers. The way he walks, talks, shoots. That's a soldier.
Idris Elba takes the lead for our next show, an award-winning crime series that has achieved international success.
Yeah, this is the first one on the list that I think is kind of international. I think people in the United States watch this show as well.
Different murders, completely different MOs, separated by a decade and half a country. Burgess must have been 20 years old when he done this.
I didn't know that I had no idea this show was like that popular. I didn't know that.
Luther centers on the titular character, Detective Chief Inspector John Luther, a man who is both skilled at his job, but a little psychologically damaged because of it as well.
Just need a way in.
This is like the first non-comedy as well. I'm assuming this is not a comedy. It doesn't look terribly funny talking about crimes and murders going on, and everyone's quite serious.
To know what it's like to be him. To not feel anything.
This is a police drama, but it's not just about fast cars, gunfights, and the odd explosion. There's a deeper, more complex story here, which has had critics raving with every series released.
This weird thing between us, it has to end.
Why?
A little romance thrown in. I never really considered this series before. Like, I've heard the name. I might have to check it out now.
It's not right, Alice. It started off because I was scared of you and I thought if I could be your friend, I could control you.
I like how they're showing random clips from the show for quite a long time. Like, I have literally no idea what they're talking about right now.
And I can't control you.
It's very dramatic.
I'm still scared of you.
Number 4, Sherlock.
Sherlock. Okay. This one is definitely popular in the United States. Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, right?
What do you do?
What do you think?
I'd say private detective.
Okay, I have not seen this show, but I know this is critically acclaimed. I know people go crazy over this, and Americans, I know, go crazy over this as well. So this is another show that it does not surprise me. I didn't know it was part of the BBC programming, but I knew it was a big show.
But
The police don't go to private detectives.
I'm a consulting detective.
The only one in the world that invented the job.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes is probably one of the best known and most loved literary characters ever created.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's like movies about it and other TV shows. Like it's a tall task to have taken on the Sherlock Holmes as a yet another rendition of it in the form of TV. But apparently they hit it out of the ballpark, like absolute slam dunk. What other sports analogies can I come up with here?
And ever since its first series in 2010, Sherlock has turned that classic story into a contemporary saga.
My employer is a tremendous fan of your blog.
Your employer?
Particularly enjoyed the one about the aluminium crutch.
I mean, it also has Bilbo Baggins. I forget this actor's name. It has Bilbo Baggins and Doctor Strange in it, so...
Starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman as...
Martin Freeman. Okay.
Holmes and the unerring Watson. The show has achieved massive worldwide success.
Yeah.
Set primarily in London, it's often cited as the most quintessentially British thing on TV today.
Oh my gosh. The most British thing on television. That's they should make that the tagline in the TV guide.
Sorry, are you guys the police?
Yeah. Everything all right?
Yeah.
Welcome to London.
The UK's most watched drama
I think, so this is a drama. I think it also has some comedy in it. Just watching these clips even, which is nice.
series since 2001. It's elementary viewing.
Clearly you've got news. If it's about the Leeds triple murder, it was the gardener. Nobody noticed the earring.
Number 3, Blackadder.
Okay, so I'm actually really happy that this list does some throwbacks from shows like in the 80s and before, because it shows I have never even heard the name of. Blackadder? They have funny hair. Other than that, I don't know what this could possibly be about.
Do you think he's a genius?
No, sir, I do not. Unless, of course, the definition of genius in his ridiculous dictionary is a fat dullard or wobble-bottom.
British.
So it has Mr. Bean. Is this a show featuring him? Is this like a sketch comedy show? It's not some kind of historical drama like I thought based on the costume?
Genius in his ridiculous dictionary is a fat dullard or wobble-bottom.
British TV is awash with period dramas, but Blackadder bucked the trend in the 80s, establishing itself as a period comedy.
It is a period show. It's not sketch comedy, it's a period comedy. I have never heard of such a thing, but I love the concept. Sounds like it really pioneered the whole genre of historical comedies. You don't hear that one too often.
If any woman wants to talk to me, you can warn her. The Blackadder is a venomous reptile, and women are his prey.
The show, which stars Rowan Atkinson as Edmund.
Rowan Atkinson, that's who it is. All right, and basically stick him in anything and it's going to be hilarious. So I'm not surprised this show did so well.
Blackadder ran for 4 full series, which were set at 4 significant points in British history.
Oh, it was like, so it did have a little variety to it. Interesting. Did he play the same character, the Blackadder, or does that have anything to do with it? Set in 4 different points of significance in British history, and it's a comedy. This sounds fascinating.
The explorers punch off to mumbo-jumbo land, go home with a tropical disease, a suntan, and a bag of brown lumpy things. And one's your uncle, everyone's got a picture of them in the lavatory.
However, no matter where you are on the timeline, Blackadder's always cynical, and his dog's body, Baldric, always has a cunning plan.
Baldric, you look like a deer. Thank you, my lord. Look a bit of a ducky yourself.
This looks like such a classic, like, British comedy that I had no idea existed.
The cast of characters here are literally incomparable to any other sitcom. It really is the best of British comic acting.
Yeah, you are the true love of my life, my love, my love. What?
This looks so fantastic.
Someone, you are the only one for me. I merely want to hug and kiss you. I am the Infanta. What? No one told me you had a beard?
It's also a bit chaotic, too.
Number 2, Top Gear.
Top Gear? I've definitely heard of Top Gear. What is Top Gear? I always thought it had something to do with cars? This looks like racing. Is this one of the most popular BBC shows of all time?
It started as a fairly routine motoring magazine program, but over time, and especially since a 2002 relaunch, Top Gear has become one of the most successful entertainment shows on the BBC.
Oh, wow. I'm still not exactly sure what they do. They're kind of doing all sorts of crazy stuff in cars. Is that a good way to describe it? They're like on a volcano in like some kind of all-terrain vehicle. I like the idea. This also sounds like something Americans would really, really enjoy. I think that's why I've heard of it. I'm pretty sure this gets broadcasted in the United States on some channel.
Even though I was driving on lava that had fallen days ago, it was still red hot, and the Top Gear vodka tire cooling system was working overtime.
Of course.
Vodka cooling system? This is like Mythbusters meets like, I don't meets cars? Like, they just do crazy stuff with cars and interesting and kind of silly builds.
Of course, everything on the show revolves around cars.
Yes.
Here we go. Reliant Robin.
Yes. Yes. I think I nailed the description. Oh my gosh. This is good.
Oh no. I've crashed it. I've crashed it almost immediately. I mean, literally 20 feet.
There are road test reviews, features covering the world's most prestigious manufacturers, and then there are lots of funny, farcical, and often controversial road trips, races, and automobile experiments.
Yeah!
We're neck and neck!
Oh my gosh, this looks awesome. Like, I never ever thought to give this show a chance. I swear I've heard of Top Gear. I had no idea. I just figured it was like too much into the mechanics of like building a car or something for people who are into automotive stuff. This is really more like for everyone to enjoy because it's got the car stuff, but it also has the silly, like amazing experiments and races and some comedy with the host there. This is like so much more than I imagined.
I'm getting away!
He's racing the jet.
In general, this show rarely lets its finger slip from the pulse, and never lets its foot off the pedal.
Wow, and this is kind of, there was a drama before with Luther and kind of Sherlock, but this is the first, you could call this live action show, non-scripted show. This is like the only non-scripted show, besides Graham Norton, I guess you could say, that's been on this list. That's pretty cool. I can see why it's so popular, honestly.
Mercifully, though, the road soon straightened out, which meant Hammond and I could absolutely fly.
Right, go, 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 go!
Yeah, this is awesome.
What a machine!
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Oh, okay.
All the time he's been waiting his chance.
Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. No idea.
Now he's ready. How sure are you?
Vivian, you might have washed your hand!
The Young Ones. No idea. Again, this seems like a comedy, though. Okay. Wallace and Gromit. Wallace and Gromit. Most Americans, I don't know. I actually don't know if all the young children these days know Wallace and Gromit. But as a child, like I grew up with several movies of Wallace and Gromit here in the United States. Great, great animation.
Me depressed? No, of course not, Bill.
Only Fools and Horses. These names. I wouldn't know what to expect based on these names. But they are unique. But I have no idea what they mean. Only Fools and Horses?
I'm on top of the world. I feel like a born-again eunuch.
32 pounds.
32
Are
pence.
you being served?
Those were my strumps.
Strumps. I don't understand the joke. I don't know what a strumpf is.
That's all. Good heavens, that's a disaster.
But why do they make hexagon shapes? The hexagonal form uses the minimum amount of wax for the maximum amount of storage in a given area.
Number 1.
That was some kind of game show, QI. Okay, number 1, Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Okay, this actually makes sense. There were a couple on this list where I was like, how is that not number 1? But I completely forgot about the existence of Doctor Who. I never really watched Doctor Who. I never could understand the hype around it. Oh, the last few years, like, I did, like, learn a little bit more about it, and I've seen some clips, and I even read the Wikipedia once, because I was interested, and it sounds like a very epic, big fantasy adventure, sci-fi adventure, and I know there's lots of different actors who play the Doctor, but I was just never part of the whole Doctor Who cultural, like, storm. The whole, I feel like you gotta have watched a lot of it or to really have a good appreciation for the whole storyline and the different doctors and stuff, but I totally get why this is number 1.
Doctor Who.
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
You could search through all of time and...
Yeah, it's like funny, it's sci-fi, fantasy, comedy. It's been going on forever now, literally like forever, for a very long time. It's got it all.
Space, sift through all the timey-wimey stuff, but you'll never find a BBC show better than Doctor Who.
I thought you were going to explain everything. He didn't give me a chance, did he? There's something very strangely wrong here.
First aired in 1963.
1963. Wow, like 60 years ago. Exactly 60 years ago. Wow.
And reintroduced for modern audiences in 2005. It's become a hugely significant part of British popular culture.
Yes, that's a really good point that the narrator's making. It's like literally British pop culture, like references Doctor Who. Even like, not really, but I won't say American popular culture references Doctor Who, but I know there's a lot of American fans. I'll say that much.
Who are you then, Doctor? What are you called? What sort of alien are you?
I'm just the doctor.
From what planet?
Well, it's not as if you know what it is.
Millions tune in every week to follow the Doctor, his TARDIS, and his companions as they fight Daleks, Cybermen, and anything else the universe can muster.
Yeah. What the heck is this? It's a piece of skin with a face. I think the phone booth that they ride in is pretty iconic. What the heck?
Bow ties are cool, but this show is brilliant. And now, to quote the Time Lord himself, allons-y.
There's an old Earth saying, Captain. A phrase of great power and wisdom.
Yeah, I know he was really popular, very, very, very popular on this show.
And consolation to the soul in times of need.
What's that then?
Allons-y!
Do you agree with our list? What's your...
I should give Doctor Who, like, more of a chance. Like, actually watch it. God, I wouldn't know what season to start on. It goes back, like, to the 60s. Goodness gracious, in black and white. But, I love sci-fi, fantasy, comedy. Like, it seems like such a perfect fit for a show I would love. Like, I don't know why I haven't ever gotten around to it. Maybe it just seems like a little overwhelming to approach, maybe, because it's so big.
Your favorite BBC show?
Sometimes it must be difficult not to feel as if you really are a cliff when fascists keep trying to push you over it.
For more best of British top 10s...
Wow, and there you have it. There you have it. Top 10 BBC shows. That was good. That was by WatchMojo.com. And I liked it. I gotta give that a like. That was good. I really liked that it was, well, it taught me about a lot of shows that are so popular, yet I had heard their name, but had no clue what they were about. So I didn't know some of these were actually British shows, to be honest. I just heard the names of them and never seen it. And I was just like, oh yeah, that's a popular show. I'll get around to that. No, a lot of them are very popular BBC shows. And there were a couple that I had never even heard of ever before in my entire life, which is honestly some of the most fun in watching these things, is learning about those things that are part of, you know, popular common British culture or British television, and having no clue what they are and getting to learn about it. So I enjoyed this quite a bit for that reason. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with your opinion on the best BBC shows. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture, British stuff I've never learned about before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.